Okay, year 5. This week we are back looking at Zentangles, and we're going to add this week. So this week, if you want to, you can add some colour, or you can just stick to black and white. Traditionally, Zentangles are black and white. So the way that we're going to extend on this though is we're going to add in some words. So I've made a couple of examples. All right, so I've just done a regular black and white one. Some words in it, and so on this one I've written 2020, and in the background I've just done my Zentangles in black and white, and then on this other one I have done my name and I've chosen to use some warm colors in the background. So today, oh, I missed a spot. Today we're going to look at putting some words in there. So grab your paper, pencils, texters, whatever you've got around at home, and we're going to work on adding some words in front of our Zentangles. All right, get organized. Let's do it. All right, so I've got my colored pencils, texters, they're all here, just out of frame. I've got my marker, rubber, and my grey lead. I'm using a mechanical pencil today. It was just what was within reach. So I've started on my A4 piece of paper. For doing things like this, I do prefer A4 personally because a big A3 piece of paper is a lot of patterns. So I've started by really lightly writing down my word. And because we're looking at doing this mindfully, I'd like you to think a little bit about what sort of word you can include in your Zentangle. I've chosen mindful for mine. You could do grateful, you could do thankful, you could do love, peace, anything you like, you can pick the word. You might also notice that this week I've decided to put a piece of paper down underneath because I'm going to use my permanent marker. You don't have to use a permanent marker, but if you do, definitely make sure you put a piece of paper underneath. I've started by really lightly writing my word. When I do bubble writing, I do this every single time I do bubble writing. I write the word first so that I can make sure that it fits, and I'm going to do it really lightly. Then what I'm going to do is I'm actually essentially going to trace around the word. So I'm going to do really bubbly bubble writing on this, but I'm going to show you a couple of different styles as well. So I've got my letter that tells me exactly how big it needs to be and what shape it needs to be. Then I'm going to use that as the shape to guide my bubble writing. Now, if I wanted to make my writing a bit more square, like I did on my 2021, I would use the exact same principle. That's exactly what I do every time. Instead of doing round bubbly lines though, I do straight lines. I can even just go completely random and do really angular, but having those lines of the word already there means that my lines and my writing are consistent and that I'm always getting those letters correct. Now, I'm not going to do that style of writing, and I'm not going to do a billion different types of letters, so I'm just going to quickly rub these out, and I'm going to go back and do my really bubbly writing. But that's how I do any kind of bubble writing. I always use my letters as a starting place and then trace around them. Easy. It seriously makes it so much easier. Oop, that one could go down a bit more, and then I'd have my when I've got little holes in the middle like this, I like to make them look super bubbly. You can even make them overlap, so I might run out of room here, so I'm going to do my F a little bit behind the D, so they kind of overlap, and I might have to do the same with, oop, I didn't like that one, with my U. See, even Even when you plan it, still sometimes you run out of room. My little bubbly U and my L. Beautiful. So now that I've got my word in my bubble writing, what I'm going to grab is my black marker and I'm going to trace around the letters here. Because I'm doing a word and I'm going to have a black background on this one, I want my marker lines to be quite thick. So if you're using a black texter, I just like to go over it a couple of times like I'm doing here, just so that I can make sure it really stands out. This is also good because if you muck up and you do a bit of a dodgy line, you can go over it again and neaten it up. But the other really good thing about doing this sort of Zentangle is that if you do have a bit of a dodgy line, you've got so many patterns that it's actually really hidden by it anyway. And you can't really ever see mistakes. All right. I'm really happy with that N. This also gives you an opportunity to just neaten things as well, which I like. So you'll notice that a lot of my lines don't match, and that's because I'm thinking about straightening them and tidying them up as I'm going over them. And I'm doing the same thing with every single line. I'm just going over it and tidying it up a little bit. Burp, 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 burp. All right, so once I've done this, I'm going to do the exact same thing that we did last week. I'm going to do my string line that wraps all the way over and through itself and all these shapes. So remember last week how I said when we're doing this, it's like you've got to imagine you dropped a piece of string on your page, and that's the line that you're creating. So almost done with my letters. And this one I'm going to add some colour to. I like the nice thick lines on these so that they're super clear. It's good to have some gaps like this in between because then we can add patterns into there as well. Now I'm going to make my letters colourful and I'm going to do a black background. So the other one I showed you, the 2021, was all black and white with a black background and white letters. The Emily one had a warm coloured background. This one is going to be both. I'm going to have black and white and some colours as well. All right, I've got my letters. Now I'm going to do my string. So literally exact same like last week. I'm going to do a line that sections out my piece of paper. And I'm going to think about how big all these sections are and where they run through. I think that worked really nicely, actually. I can change these as I'm going as well and just tidy them up like I've done. Then I'm going to get my black texter back and I'm going to go over them. Now, the tricky bit about this is that with our grey lead, we've gone over our letters, but with our marker, we don't want to. So I'm going to be trying really consciously here to not put any marker on my letters, because that will disrupt how they look and it makes them much, much harder to read. Like I said, I'm sort of trying to neaten these up a little bit as I go. They don't need too much though. And I think that's pretty good. So I'm gonna go over, rub all these lines out, and then I can start looking at my patterns. Like I said, I'm gonna do for this one, colored letters, I think, and a black and white background. It may make it hard to read. I haven't tried one like this before, so I'm going to give it a go and we'll see how it ends up. So you can see already now that I've rubbed out my grey lead, the sections are really clear. My nice thick bold letters are really easy to read. And when we add the colour in, we'll see how we go with that. The other thing as well is I forgot to show you on this one, I've also done some coloured pencil. So just to make it a little bit more interesting, I've done some textured patterns with my texter and then a little bit of colouring in the background as well. So you can do that too. All right, love it. I'm going to start my Zentangling now. Let's do it. Okay, so I have now done my words in my rainbow colour. You can do whatever colours you want. You can do black and white just like my other ones. You decide if you want to use colour or black and white. I did muck up my rainbow. They're meant to be the other way around, but that's all right. And now I'm going to do the rest of the background black and white. So I'm not going to make you watch that. I'll come back once I'm done. Okay, so I've finished this. I've got my beautiful black and white background. I've got my really brightly coloured word in front. So this is just one of the options that you can have a go at today. Remember, I want to see Zentangle in the background and a word in the front. You can choose if you want to Zentangle the letters as well. So remember, I've done this one where I've used colour to Zentangle the background and left my word white. I've just gone traditional with this one, done a white word and black and white background. And then this is my mega one where I've combined everything. I've added some colour into my words and I've done my black and white background. I kind of thought it would be a little bit tricky to read the word, but I actually think it works really well. Have a go at doing the bubble writing. Take your time. I'll add a list of words that you can use as well if you like, but if you've got something else that you'd like to do, like your name, go for it. All right, I'm really happy with this. Yay. All right, you 5, good luck doing your own Zentangle with your word in it. Have a go at your bubble writing. Take your time, be patient, be mindful, and think about what you're doing as you're doing it. And once again, I'll pop up the inspiration sheets for you as well, so you can have a look at a whole bunch of different Zentangle patterns to include in your own, and fill up your whole page. Let's do it. All right.